Can you hear me now? Two different ways. Can you hear me? No?
Yes, on that camera you can.
Can you hear me?
Yep, but you look at.
What about now? Okay, we're good now.
Okay.
I apologize, guys. I don't know what happened. I don't want to have to sit here and look at this camera all day. Hold on, let me try this again. Can you guys hear me? I'm not going to have both cameras. Can you hear me now? So we're going to go with this one then. I don't know if you can hear me now or not. Okay. Yes. Apparently you can. This is so frustrating. So I apologize, guys. This camera is going crazy on me. Before going on the show, I was trying to get this camera to let me get in the settings. The program would actually work, and then it wouldn't. So I almost feel like just starting the stream over with and start from scratch. But I do apologize. 8 minutes of nothing. So I apologize for that. All right, guys. As you guys know, Jenna's not here. She's with her sisters hanging out, and we may or may not have Beard and Josh hanging out. We did the recording of the podcast earlier, the Profit Playbook podcast for tomorrow's show, and they both told me they'd be here. So it is what it is. Maybe they knew the shit show that was going to come down. So I'm a bit frustrated right now. So I apologize. This show, as it's going to go on right now, this show is going to focus on, at least to start, the fact that eBay is offering a $100 gift card to people who are willing to go through a survey. Now, these are buyers that are willing to go through a survey. And I'm going to try to show you, because I had to reboot now twice, but I'm going to try to show you this correspondence, if I can pull it up here for a second. Essentially, though, this has been going on for a while, and I thought it was a new thing. I did some reading after I launched the live, and apparently it's not a new thing. This is something that's been going on where eBay is offering buyers a survey to, and hopefully this comes up sharing this screen here. There we go. So here we go. It's an email. This was sent to me from a viewer. Thank you for doing that. It says you're invited to participate in a paid eBay research study. It says we're seeking eBay customers to take part in a paid online research interview. This is strictly for research purposes and no purchase is required. If chosen to take part, the study pays a $100 Visa e-gift card for your time. Here's how it works. Date Wednesday, August 14th, 2024 through Thursday, August 15th, 2024. So they're doing this next week, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. I guess you just drop in the Zoom, right? It's a Zoom video conference call, and it's about an hour of your time. Now, the concern was, okay, as sellers, we're screwed. eBay is getting data from buyers, and they're going to follow what the buyer is asking for, and in turn, we are in bad shape. Speaking of in bad shape, we got Bearded Picker with us. Thanks for being here.
I was waiting for the shit show to get over with.
I don't know. I mean, I was waiting for you guys in the lobby, but you guys show up before the show starts, you can tell me I can't hear you. I'd have fixed it before we launched it.
I've been cleaning up this hellhole that I've been out here.
Even Josh said he'd be here, so I don't know, man. I'm feeling like I this live is kind of screwed, but we're gonna go with it anyway. I apologize to everyone.
Canadians,
so bad.
You can't believe what Canadians say. What the hell?
Well, you know what? It's like I after this, I want to go and get me a new computer now. I'm gonna go build me a new one because if this thing can't handle this whole situation I have going on, it's time to do something different. My stuff aside, though, what do you think about this? What do you think about the whole eBay sending buyers? Now, this is not going out to every buyer. It's going out to select buyers. It might be random. I don't know. But select buyers who may or may have something to say, may or may not have something to say about what's going on with eBay. What's your take on that? What does it mean for us sellers?
It means that at some point they're going to go, our buyers told us this, you have to do that. That's what's coming. They're going to say, we reached out to our buyers and they have told us that in order to improve the platform, we must do this. So you must follow suit or else. That's what I expect.
See, that's if that's the case, I think it's no good. But the comforting thing is this has been going on for a year. And the reason why I know that is checking, doing a search. There's a Reddit discussion about it. Someone said that they actually did one for $25 and they didn't get paid. So I don't know. It's pretty crazy. I like to think that eBay is trying to figure out why they're losing buyers on the platform. That's just the bottom line. And they're just trying to figure it out. They need to stop the bleeding, and I'm all for that if that's the case.
I mean, while they ask sellers, I can tell you where they're going. Your buyer base skews older because you have not kept up with the generations before Gen X, and they're dying. There you go. Beard my mic. What?
Your mic's fine. I hear you. I don't know what's going on. Maybe this is a corrupt stream.
How about O2? I don't know how you say your name. How about now? It was pulling the camera mic instead of the Yeti. So that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to title fast forward to the 8-minute mark or something like that, because it's like if I was watching this after the fact, I would be like irritated with like unsubscribe. I ain't watching this guy. He doesn't got his stuff together. But I just thought, you know what? Getting emails from people that are alarmed by it, don't read too much into what eBay is doing. You know, even if eBay came out and said, look, we're going to take the data that we're getting from the buyers, we're going to put it into play, and it's going to cause some more restrictions. I mean, we'd all hate it, right? But how many would actually leave the platform? To me, it's going to, I sometimes think that when eBay puts in changes like this, it's a way to weed out the bad sellers, because the bad sellers make us all look bad. They push buyers away that we'll never have a chance to do business with. They do things that cause these buyers to get upset. And then when they deal with us, they're expecting the same kind of treatment, and they treat us kind of crappy. I've had some bad interactions with people. It just started off bad, you know, and I had to reply quickly and in a professional way, and they calmed down and the transaction went well. And it shouldn't have to be that way, but I understand why they are that way, because of bad experiences. And
yeah, we all want eBay to be, you know, more forgiving and treat sellers. But at some point, kid gloves are too much. You know, you can be, Amazon is the other way. Amazon is, you know, if you break wind, they're going to suspend you forever. And eBay is, you know, what do you mean you killed 3 people on your way home? Maybe they'll be okay.
yeah.
So you got to have a middle ground, because, and I really think that they've got a review process where they're, you know, it's not too much to ask to be top rated. You know, so I get that if you can't make top rated because of the sales, because you're a part-timer, I understand that you'll be fearful of that. But if you have limited sales, they should be able to modify that so that as long as you're upholding, you're shipping on time, you're doing the bare minimum, you're shipping on time, you're, you know, decent feedback, you know, the easy things that shows that you actually try to sell.
Yeah, so that's nothing to get alarmed by. So if you see these kind of things, my advice is to take eBay up on it. $100 for an hour is definitely worth, I think, all of our time. Most of us can say that we probably don't make $100 an hour on eBay. So why not take it? If it's a gift card, what use it for supplies or whatever you need for your business, or maybe something special for yourself. But to me, I'd certainly do it if they offered it to me, which I doubt that they will. Now, another thing, I don't know if you saw the post that I put out about a half an hour ago. Before I came on, I had plenty of time. I was ready to go, and I came across an opportunity to make a sale. Someone reached out to me, and they said they wanted to buy my item for $140. I had it for like $149. I'm like, okay. I mean, I may have taken less, but I still checked the buyer's feedback. And one thing that I noticed that I'm like, wait, am I tripping or what? What's going on here? And I'm going to show it to you right now. If this thing cooperates, hopefully it will.
It'd be a good time to start in the Mac environment. You go to Costco or Sam's. They've got the Mac Mini for $4.99. More computer than you ever need, and you'll be so happy.
No, I'm happy with my computer until today. It's not working out. But check this feedback out. Now, this feedback is feedback left for others. So you see fast payment, excellent, eBayer, thank you, looks fine. No communication, no payment, horrible experience. What? Negative feedback for a buyer? Buyer replied, item was won, out of town, computer was unavailable. And then the seller said, payment was made, communication improved, thank you. Now, this is over a year ago. But anybody ever see anything like this? I just thought it would be worth kind of bringing up.
Is that when they must have had something for sale? That's the only.
Well, that's definitely a buyer, right? They sold it. Buyer didn't pay in time. I guess they had to wait the 4-day game, and buyer came through and paid for it. I thought that was just a little strange, a lot of strange, right? Was that a test thing? Was that a glitch? But it's obvious that they left negative feedback for a buyer, which is like, what? I've never seen that before. So anybody out there seen that type of thing? Let's see who we have with us today. We got Mike Camparelli. He says, hi, John, Jen, and FA family. Hope everyone is experiencing good summer sales. Mine are a little off. Being away all last week has taken its toll, but I'm slowly getting back on track. I also like to know, in terms of the eBay $100 offer, are there any strings attached? I don't think that there are. It's saying that the results are confidential. So essentially, they're not making the buyer fill out an NDA. It's like saying, hey, we're not going to share your information. Usually when they offer us money, it is associated with some kind of trial for a new service. Is this the case? Not that I know of. Not that I know of. I don't think there's anything associated with it. I just really, really think they're like 2 to 3 years late in trying to get customer feedback to stop the bleeding and losing these buyers. We have Jackie Bleckner's in the house. Thanks for being here, Jackie. NPC Oasis says, I buy thousands of items off eBay and have never seen this paid survey. I've even got done a bunch of free ones and never got anything. This is lame. I'm one of the most uber eBay power users there is. Yeah,
you did it for free. You've sold yourself short, NPC. Yeah.
Yeah, I really think it's just random. It could be someone that's new. It could be somebody that has been selling for or buying for 20 years. I really just think that it's just a random draw of X amount of users that they're budgeted to. Maybe they have $10,000 in their budget, and that's what we're talking. 1,000 people, or not even that. Callie Deb says, hello, John, Jen, and chat. I'm having very sluggish sales and sending out very low offers to get these sales. Well, at least some money is coming in. And I've noticed, look, someone offered me $50 on something that I had for $80-something. It's been listed for 2 months. And I thought, you know what? I'm only going to do it for $5. So I'm going to take the sale. I took the sale, and that's kind of where you got to be. You got to get your mind out of, I have to get this for this item. I would say you want to kind of create a range. As what you want is being the top of that range, and the bottom of that range being what the smallest amount you'll take. So you're into an item for 10, and you really want to get it maybe sold for 100, but you get an offer for 50. Is 5x enough for you to move on from that item? Now, there's a lot of things in that equation. Like I just sold an Onkyo, it's a $1,200 unit Onkyo receiver, and I was getting offers like within an hour of me posting this. I was starting to get offers. I ain't coming down a whole lot. I mean, I did sell it for $730. I had it listed for $799, but I ain't coming down a whole lot if someone sends me an offer if I just listed that item. If that thing would have sat there for, I'm into it for $200 if I, based on my cost averaging. So, if that thing would have sat there for a month, which I doubt it would have, would I've taken 500? I probably would have. What's your take on that?
Just put the soundtrack to Frozen in the background and let it play, let it go, and all that, and just at some point, Shane says, "Let it go." People get too stuck on the numbers. Oh my God, it's worth this because it's sold here. I've got to, something in their head where I've got to make 6, 8, 10 times.
Yeah,
gotta go. If I'm making it a profit that's worth my time, it's just gotta go. I don't care. I just sent out 13% offers right now. It looks like the offers might be coming back because I didn't have any offers the last 48 hours, hardly none. And now I haven't looked in the last 5 or 6 hours. And I have 23 right now. So maybe whatever's happened. I think a lot of people have said the last 48 hours have been really slow. I mean, I went 21 hours without a sale, and that's very unusual for me because I sell. I mean, every 2 or 3 hours I'll get a sale, but
yeah. It happens. It seems like it comes in waves, though. It like come and goes. So you'll have a period of time where there's no activity at all, not even offers or the ability to send offers to watchers. They're just not there. And then, you'll step away for a couple hours, come back, and you have like 12 offers to send and maybe a sale or two. It's just like it comes in waves.
Here's your new camera right here. This can be your new camera.
What is that?
It's one of the ones off the 127. It's a Nikon D300. It's a little bit older camera, but it's got a lot of controls and stuff on it that are digital. Yeah. It's very in demand. With this lens, I like 240, 250, somewhere in there.
Okay. What did you pay for it?
I gave 80 for it.
80? Okay. So 80 for 240. Now, after fees and all that, it might be closer to 200, but how fast do you think you're going to sell that?
As soon as I get it listed. So he had another one that I paid 50 for that's worth 170. He also had a lens that he threw in with these two, and I looked the lens up. I'm like, wait a minute, that lens that he's throwing in is worth. I've got a list for 175 right now. Then he had 2 other cameras. One of those I've already sold for 130. He sold me for 12. So if you get so caught up in I've got to make that amount for that camera, or is it the whole deal? And so to me, it was about getting them all and the deal.
So I've come full circle, guys. When I started selling on eBay, I used to go to a computer swap meet. This is back in 2002. And I'd go weekly, pick up a lot of hard drives. I mean, like just like boxes. These guys that have like a box of hard drives. I'd pick them up, test them, check them for bad sectors, try to fix them if there's a problem, reformat, all that stuff. And I'm getting stuff in my pallets now. And we're talking hard drives. Pretty good stuff. Western Digital.
Those are big ones. Was that 8 and 10 terabyte? Those are big ones.
Yeah, another 8 terabyte. And it's cool. I picked up this little device. It was $15 on Amazon. It's a Godo. I don't know what a Godo is. I'm a Frozdo at this point. Godo.
It's probably somebody's brand. It's probably a private label brand.
Yeah, you slide it in the box, and it hooks up to this deal that you attach to it. And you don't have to install these hard drives. So I have like 3 or 4 hard drives that I think I have another one in there. I think one's an 18 terabyte. I don't want to crack this case open and unplug stuff, this computer case. And a lot of folks out there don't even have the experience to do that. But if you know how to simply follow the instructions to put the drive in the box and then hook up the drive to your USB cable, plug it in, and it's acting as an external drive, you can then check the contents of the drive and then delete, format, whatever before you sell the item. So hopefully that helps somebody out there who's dealing with hard drives, or maybe, you know, you picked one up at the yard sale and you don't want to spend a lot into testing it. $15 on Amazon and you got one of these setups.
You can also get one that'll do the smaller laptop hard drives, the whatever format that is. But you know, unless that one has an adapter for it.
Yeah, this comes with it. Comes with the cable, and it comes with the little power deal that you plug in, and you can set it up as an external stand-up drive. Let's say you come across a hard drive that you want to add to your system, and you don't know how to open up the computer, right? You just want to add more storage. This would be one way to do it, and it's not going to be very difficult. It takes like 10 minutes to set up, and it's plug and play. So that's what I'm dealing with. I'm glad I was able to find this because it's going to save me a lot of time too in testing.
Yeah, I've got one for the smaller hard drive. I just don't know what I've done with it.
We have Gail Carlson. This is hello, John and Jen and FA family. Sales are slow. Well, thanks for being here, Gail. Nice to see you. NPC Oasis, the economy is tanking. The only reason why we haven't crashed is because the garbage that the money printing is happening. So I know so many people are so passionate about the whole, political thing. And I just, like I said, about a week ago, I really want to not lay blame, because we all have eyes and ears. We all have our own opinions as to what's going on in the world, in our country. The reality is the reality. No matter what's going on, we've got a problem in our economy. And anytime there's a problem with the economy, they just came out and said there's a recession. Well, that affects each and every one of us, whether we'd like to admit it or not. I'd like to, think that I'm going to be able to grow, but it's going to be, am I going to be able to grow my business very fast during this kind of a economic climate? I'm not so sure I can.
So which country, this is a good one for, this is business leaders have done this, and this is both sides of the aisle. Which country's economy is the most important economy to the U.S.?
Which country's economy?
Oh yeah, which country?
I'd have to take China.
China doesn't make a flip.
Well, that's where we buy most of
the Japanese economy is that. So if you do some research about what happened on Monday. So Japan for years, and like the last 3 decades, has been trying the yen should have gone under, and the yen, they've been floating the yen and helping the yen. And so they've had 0 to negative interest on loans for years and years, to the point where the rest of the world has been going to Japan and borrowing money basically for free, and they'll invest it. They'll pay you to take money from Japan and you put it in bonds in these other countries, thinking they're safe. And now the bonds in these countries are not safe. But the problem is take a guess how much money has been loaned out through these Japanese banks all over the world.
Oh,
$20 trillion. And so that's why a quarter percent rate increase in the negative on Japan triggered the Nikkei to dive and everything to dive on Monday. I forget. It's got a name, that lending thing with Japan has got a name. I forget what, but it's a $20 trillion outlay from Japan. And so just a slight trickle in their interest rates, goes all through the world. It's crazy.
And you might be like me and not have a dime in the stock market. But it's going to affect, if you're a reseller, it's going to affect you, because people are going to be more careful in what they spend when times are tough. And
how much we got to talk about selling needs? We've talked about it how much over and over and over.
I've been talking about that for 2 years, and people thought I was crazy. People still buy collectibles and things like that, and they treat those things as they want it so bad they'll buy it. And I get it. There's just and when we talk about how people are having problems financially, it doesn't mean that everyone is. There's a segment of this population that is so detached from what's going on because they got so much money in the bank that the price of bread going up doesn't affect them at all. It just doesn't. The price of gas going up is like, okay, no big deal. I'm spending what's $5 to them if you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars in your bank account? But for people who don't, and there's a huge segment of the population, and that segment's getting larger, the rift between the poor and the rich, it used to be like it was kind of balanced, but now it's either really poor or you're getting rich.
Yeah, the middle class has been just chewed up.
Right. And there's a number of people who may not have been affected by it before, are really seeing it right now. And I got to tell you, it ain't no government that I know of, I don't care what side of the aisle you are on, that is ready to come out and say, hey, we're in a recession. And this should have been admitted to at least a year ago. I'm sure that we've been in a recession a lot longer, because people have been complaining about slow sales. I think it's just retail is like an indicator of how the economy actually is. And who out there has been saying this for a while, that their sales are slower than usual? Because it's been a conversation we've been having for quite some time. We have Pitco. Now, I got to tell you, Prosser came up with a great idea. We're going to use for the members side. We're going to do a live. I don't know how often, but we're going to do a live sort of as a roundtable discussion for members. It's like $2.99 if you want to become a member, but a way to help brainstorm your business. And, we can get on, talk as a group and try to just figure it out. And it's not getting shot out to the whole masses, right? It's just a very small, confined group. And you're welcome to join the memberships. I'm putting out regular videos, and I do put out like one or two videos a month, just to kind of behind the scenes to show you some of the things that a lot of people aren't interested in. So I'm just kind of putting it out there, but thank you for that idea. It's something we're definitely going to pursue. Let's see. You got Larry Todd's with us in the house. Thanks for being here. Kevin Hawthorne's from Lakeland, Florida is here. Thank you for being here. You got Mike Seller, also member, says TGIF, John, Jenna, and Flippers. So are you doing yard sales tomorrow, Beard?
Here's how I'm going to determine it in the morning. If I wake up on this side of the dirt, I'm going. And if I'm on the other side of the dirt, see y'all later.
Well, then you'll be there. Grandma Marizatic says, happy Flippin' Friday, FAA fam. Well, nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Flippin' Good says, happy Friday. Thanks for being here, Flippin' Good. And Duncan from the other side of the pond over in Australia says, hit that like for a free return and a negative. That's not the right program. I think you're looking at somebody else's live. We give you a sale within the next 24 hours if you hit that like button. And if it doesn't happen, well, I'll give you your money back. The amount of money you spent hitting that like button, I'll give you every cent back. Ping's with us. Happy Friday, John and Jenna in the chat. Nice to see you. Shane, what's pimpin'? Hope everyone's well. I see Brandy's with us when we had no sound. So again, I apologize for that snafu. Mike Gertis says, good evening. Thanks for here, Mike. Nice to see you. Christina is with us, says no sound. You guys know by now that when I'm starting my live, I ain't looking at the chat just yet. I mean, I don't get to that until my diatribe's over with. So maybe I need to do a better job, but I swear to you, I have this thing.
The first 10 minutes to show what a quality diatribe you had today. I enjoyed that one.
I was on fire, and it's just like, really, I got to go back and say it again. But the podcast went well, and we had the same
stuff. He muted for me. I didn't even have to do it this time. This is awesome.
865 Pickers with us. Thanks for being here. He sells, she sells. John Gaynor. Let's see who else we got. Mark Suddick. Thanks for being here, Mark. Juan says, happy Friday. Hope y'all's week was great. Yeah, we did all this craziness. And then Brandy gives a thumbs up for the sales. I appreciate you guys hitting the like button. That certainly helps. Chastity says, at least the background is pretty soothing. We try to change that up a little bit. And for some reason today, the background was there. Usually when it's just one screen, there's no background. We got Diamond Roy with us. David Pentland's with us. S. Latina. Basket Noodle says, I love tech, no lead, no lead. Tech is something, I love technology. You know, it's got this stupid camera that decided to poop out on me. Hopefully there's something wrong with the software, not the camera, because I really kind of like this camera. It's better than the one I'm using right now, in my opinion. NBC Oasis, that's why it's good to have a nice, good quality dedicated mic and adjustable settings. Guys, I have that. I have that right here. I can't show it to you because I have to move the camera. But I have the same mic that Beard has. It's the Blue Yeti. And my sound has been good all this time. So there's something going crazy in the background. Don't know if I picked up a virus on this thing or what, but I am now going to spend time redoing this computer because I can't have that.
How old is that computer?
This computer, I built it, going on 2.5 years ago.
So
I swapped out the CPU. I've got 64 gigs of memory in this thing. I've got all kinds of good stuff in here, and it shouldn't be going crazy at all. You could play big time games on here if you're a gamer, but the way I look at it is, if you buy the kind of stuff that a gamer would use, then your technology is not going to become obsolete for a while when it comes to doing this kind of stuff. So there should be no reason why it's giving me
because it's mine's an older computer. I'm actually on a PC and it's not having any issues.
Yeah, I'm a gadget guy, so if I come across a deal on a better motherboard or CPU, I'm going to crack this thing open and upgrade it. I do that all the time. Jordan Klein's with us. Thanks for being here, Jordan Klein. Sorry you guys were going crazy. I can see everyone's like, yeah, you can't hear you, and I feel so bad that you guys had to go through all that. T. Taylor's with us. Thanks for being here, T. Taylor. Got Mike Dixie Flipper says, hi, John. This week has been good, and I'm hoping to have the same this upcoming weekend.
Maybe you're spending too much money because this is an 8th gen i5, and I bought it at a yard sale for $30.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, I just enjoy my technology. I will go out and buy the best webcams that I can, the microphones, the stream decks. Heck, you've seen my refrigerator, right?
Oh yeah.
We had to go buy a new refrigerator. So I think I told you guys this on Monday. The thing has a full-blown like tablet on the side. I can watch YouTube while I'm in the kitchen. So if I want to listen to a recipe or watch a cooking show or something while I'm in there, like I spent a lot of today in there. I'm making smoked birria tacos.
That's what I picked up at a yard sale. They sold to me for $5.
$5. Are you gonna keep it?
Yeah, I didn't figure out what I'm gonna do, how to make it work. I had a expensive microphone. I'm like, since I hadn't sold, I'll just use it. Well, hell, as soon as I said that, I sold that microphone. I said, damn it.
Yeah, I picked up a couple Rode mics, a couple Rode wireless mics, and I was going to keep them for the channel, but I didn't like the fact that they didn't the mics. There's a transmitter and there's a receiver. The transmitter kind of held on with a dongle, and the receiver was fine, but I didn't want it just hanging from my phone while on the gimbal because it would cause the gimbal to like shake and go crazy. So I'm like, all right, sold that thing. I think I sold it for like $80 for the set. Soda City, I've got you running, but got to get back to listening to Highway 127 Hall. Love you all, you two chat. So apparently Shane was making some videos on 127. Don't know if have you seen any content on that come out yet? 127.
I've seen Shane. I haven't seen a long form video, but he's made several shorts. I've seen those, and I've seen a bunch of old school flippers. He was with
Callie Debs has been let down by eBay. Looks like she's done some of these surveys and they did not come through with the Visa gift card. And what I heard was the person that was offered the $25 gift card, they contacted eBay and eBay said, well, we'll go ahead and give it to you as a one-time courtesy. It's like, really? I didn't give you my time as a one-time courtesy. Oh, maybe it was a one-time courtesy. NPC Oasis, I got better things to do than answer a bunch of questions for an hour, even for $100 card. It really depends on what you got going on. I mean, is it worth it to you or not? Would you do it for $100, Beard?
Do what? The
survey.
Sure.
Jordan Klein, this was offered to sellers also. I didn't see it. No one's reached out to me and said, hey, they offered it to me too. Mark Suddick, they don't care. They don't dare offer sellers something they would get a lot of negative feedback. Let's see. Unneed gifts. You need gifts, goods, and books. They've all gone to Temu. I think there's a segment of the buyer base that has gone to Temu, but I still think that there's some things that people can't find there that they're only going to find on eBay, right?
Yeah, and it only takes a few orders, and you realize how cheap a lot of that stuff is. You know, you get used to using stuff that's quality stuff, and all of a sudden it's just crappy stuff. Yeah, that's frustrating.
I appreciate that, Juan. The tech issues are all about being genuine and knowing you're a real person. I'm a real person, guys, and it just seems like, in all fairness, I've been running around with like a chicken with the head cut off. I'm doing this whole birria taco thing, and it's going to turn out really good. But I had to redo the base. I went in and I started kind of making it my own, and that's where I screwed up. So I had to go in and redo the meats on the smoker, but the whole base for birria tacos is had to get redone because I added one ingredient that screwed it all up. So it is what it is. NPC Oasis is there are way too many toxic sellers that are allowed to stay on without repercussions. There are, and the only repercussions is to us, because every bad buyer experience has a negative impact on our buyer base, whether they stay or whether they leave. And that's why I'm always stressing that we need to do everything we can to produce as the best low effort customer experience to the buyer that we can. Otherwise, if collectively we all just wing it and don't care, treat the buyer bad, there's nothing eBay is going to be able to do to save the buyer base. It's going to be on us. So I think it's a shared responsibility. Yes, eBay needs to do better in advertising. eBay needs to do better in retaining their buyer base and promoting the platform to the younger generation. I've been saying that for the longest time. But what good does it do if they bring all these new buyers to the platform to get disappointed from a bad experience?
You're 100% correct, and they really do need that. I'm all for cleaning up there's got to be a way, and the problem is every time these platforms want to clean up the bad buyers, is they make up rules that punish the good sellers.
Yes.
I mean, the bad sellers. And so they've got to find a way that doesn't make it punitive to sell and make a good seller jump through more hoops. Now that's the problem. It's the exact opposite of giving good customer service. If you can't treat everybody like they're trying to scam you, because sometimes people have problems. And so you're just as bad to treat a good buyer terrible as it is to treat a good seller terrible. And they don't see it that way yet.
Jordan Klein says they just sent this offer to sellers. A lot of questions in regards to AI tools assisting with selling your items. So that's good. If sellers, see, that was a concern that someone had. Oh, they're only going to be listening to buyers, but they're disregarding sellers. If it's both buyers and sellers, of course, it's going to be two different sets of questions. That's good. That tells me that they thought, now maybe I'm wrong here, but tells me that they had a plan, and maybe they still are going to go with the plan, but that plan really disregarded the feedback of sellers, right? Now they might be integrating that feedback in with this plan, and I'm hopeful that they can make key changes that's going to be beneficial to sellers. Garden Cats TV, thanks for being here. Nice to see you. Got Semper Fi's in the house. Slow sales, but awesome garage sales. And I think right now you're going to find good deals. If you can get out, like Vegas, we have like 5 yard sales. It's 110 degrees. Nobody's having a yard sale, and the people driving around to find them aren't there. But if you're like Beard and the weather permits it, right now is a great time to get deals. People are trying to get out of stuff. People are trying to clear out their garage. I think right now is a really good time to get stuff. Didn't you just say you had a deal on someone was going to give you a bunch of tools for they wanted 50 cents a piece, but
I'm gonna try to buy them all tomorrow.
Basket Noodle feedback is so Jurassic, should be good sales, bad sales ratio, and done. I think they need to revamp it. I think that there has to be some form of maybe rating system. Okay, if the concern was seller gets a negative feedback, seller sort of reacts in a negative way, sort of to punish the buyer for leaving a negative feedback and leaves a nasty gram for them. I don't think that should be the way to go, because it's been proven that there's people who have their feelings involved. They can't take a negative feedback from a buyer, and they come back and lash out at the buyer.
They could do things, man. We talked about this. You know what I mean? They could, before you can leave feedback, you have to at least message the seller to give them a chance to make it right.
Right.
You know, there's little things they could do to even out the playing field to make it where there not nearly as many negatives left. Because, you know, all my negatives I never had a chance to fix. You know, they just bitch, and I'm like, if you'd have just said something, I'd have fixed it. I mean, whatever your disappointment is, I don't care whose fault it is, I would have fixed it.
What about just leaving a number system? So no comment involved. You as a buyer and seller, so you're leaving a rating for a buyer as well. And that rating could be like 1 to 10. Maybe, you know, there is a rating right now with the 5 stars for the 4 different categories: shipping, accuracy, all this stuff, right? But maybe make that, you get 1 overall rating along with those 4 5-star systems. And as a seller, you're getting rated like on a 1 to 10. So you have 2,000 feedback, right? So you have 10 bad ratings. You're going to be like a 9.2, 9.5. And that's not bad. You're going to get buyers now. We would be able to say, did the buyer pay fast? Maybe have 5 stars for that. Maybe as a seller, you give them their metrics and then an overall rating for that transaction. And now as a seller, you know, you see that, okay, well, this guy's kind of shady. They only have a 7 out of 10. I may not want to do business with them. Okay. But it's not a lot of times I think we get caught up in like what the buyer said. So the buyer lied about the transaction, or they tend to, I guess, beef up their story a little bit to make it more, you know, dramatic than what it really went down. Because I've seen that happen too. Buyers claim this happened, that happened, this is what they got versus that. And it's like, that didn't even happen. But that's what they put on there to make you look bad. And I think that written part of it is where, and the whole photo thing too, is where I think it's a little extra, a little excessive. I think it's just eBay should work out something to put some kind of numbered system in, rather than allow the buyer to leave a 500-word essay, which is what they do.
So you get crazy people like Joni. Every time she goes to Walmart self-checkout and they say, "How was your experience?" She's like, until I get to not check myself out anymore, they're giving 1s.
Yeah. But you can go in your Walmart, you can stand in line, can't you?
Yeah. So they've a couple of them, they have taken it and knocked it down. They're slowly, you know, we've got 8 super centers in the area. And so 2 of them have been done so far where they've added more registers back and made it it's kind of interesting. You kind of walk and kind of cattle everybody into the same spot, and then you can go whichever, you know, to registers or to, but they've had more registers open, which has been very nice.
Yeah. We got Patrick Murphy says, why, yes, hello, panel and chat, flying by to say hi and light up that thumbs up. So hit that like button, guys. Andy Reno says, FA family, my daughter's in town, so I have to catch the replay. Have a great show. Well, hopefully, Andy, if you're watching the replay, you made it through that debacle of the beginning. I'm going to have to put a little pin note to tell people to fast forward. Chastity says, had a weird one. Buyer made an offer, I accepted, but when they paid the full price. Didn't realize it hours later. Guess I should refund them the difference. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. It could be this, that they made an offer and were like, you know, I don't know if this person's going to get back to me or not. So I need the item, so I'll just pay full price, right? So now they made an offer. You did accept it according to what you said here. So I would say it's best. It's a good look to send them a note saying, hey, I'm going to be sending you back a refund of X, Y, and Z, and apologize for the snafu or whatever. I think that would go a long way, because they could, if you just did nothing, they could decide, you know, I'm not happy with paying extra and leave a negative fee. You just don't know who you're dealing with. Shane says, gotta let the stuff go. Just accepted a $60 item that he had listed for 80. Let it go. I mean, really, it all depends on what you're into the item for. If you're buying bad, like this $80 item that Shane has, if he went out and paid 40 to 50 for it, that is a huge mistake. If you can only get 80, okay, you have zero room to move that item. Now you could be justified in, well, I paid 50 to get 80, but these things sell like hotcakes. To me, it's just not worth it. You got to know, like the phrase I say, is the juice worth the squeeze? And I'd say for an $80 item, you'd have to be into it for in my world, no more than $10 to make that purchase worth it. So where are you at? If you're dealing with an $80 item, an item that may sell at 80, but you might have to come down a little bit in price, what's the most you're going to pay for that?
Depends on how fast it sells and depends on what I've got to do to it. But I'm going to make my minimum is 50%. So if that's an $80 item, I will go down. So if I took 60 and made $30, I'd be all right with that. But I try my absolute best not to go below 50%.
But now you got to remember, he's taking 60 and then the fees got to get taken out, right? So you're probably not. So I would say, based on your formula, $25.
Yeah, 20, 25 max.
I'm just a little, I guess you can call me greedy, right? I think it's a bad terminology to use, I guess.
You got to realize I spent a lot of time on Amazon, and the Amazon, you do not have the same cost of, your cost of goods are generally higher because the percentage is not as, you're dealing with a volume game over there versus, and it's two different worlds. So
you could do volume on eBay, and there's a lot of people watching right now that do volume just fine. But in my world, it's like I played the volume game and I didn't have enough volume to make it work. So with a smaller store, higher ASP, larger margins, so where I can, the way I source, I'm into an item for $5 to $10, selling it for 70 to 100 to 200, and I have a lot of room to come down in price if I have to. John, Worldwide Weber, sales have been good and I'm seeing more feedback mentioning good price. My systems are moving product and customers are happy. There we go. Love that. Love to hear that. Montezuma says, I accept all reasonable offers and make the money and run on the next deal and sourcing. That's that churn effect, right? So you might have an item up that you're just hell-bent on getting $100 for, that maybe you've passed on. Someone offered you $70 a couple times. You passed it up. And that money it depends on how much, if you have money free and clear to buy more merchandise. But let's say your business is dependent on, I can only buy X amount of goods depending on how much I'm making every week. So if I have a slow sales week, I can't buy so much of the yard sale. Then you really should be focused on churning and trying to back your initial profit or investment, and then some profit where you're just building up your store. And everyone has a different situation, right?
Absolutely. Just because it's right for some person doesn't mean it's right doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means you need to understand your numbers and understand if it's worth doing.
Yeah, you got to figure out what's right for you. So what's right for you would be a disaster for me. What's right for me might be a disaster for Beard. It really just depends on your situation and your strategy to make the money.
Yeah, but I have different strategies and different buying guides based on what platform is going on. So you've got, if you're using multiple platforms, understand the fees are different, and everything about the platforms are different, even though you're doing the same thing. So be very cautious.
Yeah. Basket Noodle says America has 22 million millionaires commanding $157 trillion. It's insane. And people think it's billionaires. It's not. There's more millionaires out there than you guys think. Rob Something says, we're not in a recession. We're close to triggering the SOM rule, which is linked to state rate of an unemployment increase in relation to the 12-month average. The SOM rule is one metric. So they've already come out and said we're in a recession, though. They recently came out and said that we are in a recession. Beard says they changed the definition of recession in that's okay. You could have said that. John Doe says day 2 of 150-mile garage sale trail done, 17 hours of hunting and 40 miles covered so far. I may only manage another 20 miles over the next 2 days. So I wonder if that's an extension of the 127.
No. So that's the. I asked him farther down. He's on the. I think it's the antique alleyway, the highway, the 12 across Michigan. Something. I don't know if I got the highway right, but it starts on the Great Lakes and goes towards Detroit.
Duncan says I had 700 in sales yesterday and a lot of stuff to pack. I need the day off. Wish I had a few days of slow sales, but no. I mean, have you ever had that where it's like, man, I would take a day of slow sales just to kind of slow myself down a little bit.
It's the US. It's the US 12 Heritage Trail is what it's called.
Let's see. I think a roundtable live will help benefit everyone and maybe move their business forward. And for the price of membership, you ain't gonna get that advice for less. And it's just really about an enclosed community. You know, forget what I have to say. There's a lot of smart people that would participate, I think, in these members only lives where it's a small, because a lot of people don't want to put their business out there in front of, you know, we get maybe 1,500 people watching these videos. And I think there's a lot of people who just don't want to share their experience really in detail and ask for advice and putting their whole, you know, business out there like that. So that's another benefit for these little live members only lives. Basket Noodle says, well, I have to go eat my Mexican meal and my state named Via Ola, England on my table, made in Canada with my Chinese utensils. Take care all. Well, thanks for being here, Basket Noodle. Nice seeing you. You need gifts, goods, and books. Hey, John, I'm a Canadian reseller, but I don't have access to the U.S. promotions and marketing strategies. Curious, do you know any workarounds to do multi-quantity discounts or store coupons? Now, they don't even give you volume discounts either. I'm curious about that because that should be baked into the lister. What do you think? Do you have any advice on someone who just does not have access to the same tools we do?
I don't know. I've never looked at it from the Canadian side, you know, but we do know a Canadian, eh? That'd be a good question for Josh.
Yeah, but I know he sells on US eBay.com on the US side.
I bet he buys on eBay Canada. I bet he would probably know that or knows people he can ask.
Well, if he was here, like he said he was, he'd be able to answer that question. NPC Oasis, you got some viruses from all those random drives you've been plugging in. You should have a beater PC to test stuff with. I have my antivirus locked in. Any new device I plug in, it reads, but I haven't started yet. I haven't even plugged the single drive in yet. I got this device just yesterday and I started to set it up, but I haven't had a moment to test any of this. That was the plan to do tonight. So it's nothing nefarious. I don't think there's nothing. I'm not on any strange websites or anything like that. So there's something. So
this is how eBay does things. They just change stuff and go, and this is what happens.
That's right. I've learned from eBay, unfortunately. Let's see. Basket Noodle says, I buy off lease CAD machines, rock and roll.
He was telling us about some deals he got. He really got some good deal on a computer.
Grandma Mary's Attic says, is it against eBay policy to sell a So Clean machine? It's in great condition. All attachments got from family member. What is a So Clean machine? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, so it is basically a oxygen. It cleans a CPAP mask. The problem with that is Steve got sued by So Clean for selling on eBay. They sued him for $10,000, and he was able to contact them and say, "Yo, I only had one, and I won't do it again." So they let him out of the lawsuit, but they have sued lots of sellers. I don't know if it was for used or new, but I know they've sued sellers. So they're not going to sell it locally and be done with it. They are very, very, very aggressive, and you don't want to deal with that.
So thanks to Keith, gave a gift membership, and it looks like Chris, the Goose, our buddy Chris, got the membership. So welcome to the FAE membership fam. And I think we're going to start that roundtable thing very soon, probably like next week. I'm really excited about doing something like that. Samantha says, good evening, John and Jenna. Nice to see you. Thanks for being here. We have Kid Wilson says, I know I said this last few times, but ending my listings the day before they end and selling similar has helped my sales big time. I'm a firm believer in that. I really do. You have two choices. You can allow an item to sit in your store, and every 30 days, eBay is going to take a listing from you and give it another 30 days under the same item number. And eBay is going to, in the back end, going to catalog that as a stale listing. Or you could take a few seconds, end item. You go, you right click on the drop down, right click on sell similar, and then add to tab, and then drop down, go in and end item, boom, and then go in and fix whatever you need to, maybe the price, maybe the title, maybe the photos, sometimes just rearranging the photos. Sometimes could be what you're promoting. It could be a lot of different things or multiple things that you do to the listing, and then you relaunch it and you get the new item boost that lasts for I think it's 12 to 24 hours. And of course, it's the plug we always give because it's true. The only program I know right now where you can go in and schedule your item to do this for you, so you don't have to remember to do it for every item in your store, using TreeCat, using the link down below to go check it out. And you can check out TreeCat and have all your items set up to do end item sell similar every week. I do it 29 days for the other account, and we don't have to think about it. It does it on its own, and it's still taking the one listing that eBay would have taken from me. Pitco says, I don't know if anyone noticed, but at some point eBay changed their policy for clothing to the point you have to have a notice at the bottom listing to the fact that all clothing has been cleaned properly. Now that, I know Keith is in the UK. I don't know of any such qualification in the US for that yet. But I know eBay does a lot of things to test the market, right? Things are coming, guys. Anytime people present a bad buying experience, they send a soiled, in your case, you can't sell used undergarments, but it's a bad example. But if you sell a soiled pair of jeans and they're like, this isn't what they advertised, it creates a bad buyer experience. And the more of those that eBay gets, we're forcing their hand into implementing a lot of these things.
I hope that wasn't me.
What's that?
I said I hope that somebody got a message. I'm like, I hope that wasn't me.
Pitco says, I left eBay for a while and I don't sell clothing, so don't really look at it. Was just something that I seen. It's probably UK only at this point. Coppercat, late but here. Hello, FA family. Well, you know what? It's good you tuned in late because there was a hot mess the first 8 minutes. Pitco says, I don't like eBay as a rule. Had a lot of issues with them, so left the platform. Only started selling back on there, but not clothing. Gail says they should buy back their machines if they don't want you to sell them. Someone was selling machines of some sort. John Doe says, I've been averaging 40% on positive feedbacks per sale. I got hit with 3 negatives within 60 days. The only 3 I've ever gotten, and I'm at 99.6, which isn't bad. It's a good percentage. I think I'm at 99.5. I have 8 over the last 12 months.
Oh, good. Your package gets there today. It's supposed to be there today.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably here, but
Tell Jenna to go open it. It's exciting.
You can send her a message if she's watching the chat. Pitco says buyers don't read descriptions, so they ain't gonna look at feedback as well. Feedback is not as important on eBay now as it used to be. You'd be surprised though. People do read. I mean, we always seem to focus on the negative things that happen because that's what we remember. It's a lot like poker in the sense that we tend to remember the bad beats we've taken. Bad beats meaning hands we should have won, but we got beat. And we tend to remember and hang on to those losses. Or in this case with reselling, we tend to remember the bad experiences that we've had. And we don't look at the numbers, which means that 80% of the other things that you've sold have gone without any problem at all, smooth, probably 90% for most people. And I think a number of those 90% are looking at your feedback rating before they even determine to buy your item from you. Because I've had people say, hey, you have a good reputation on the platform. They've mentioned it, that I've had a good reputation on the platform, and that had to have gone into the equation that they were buying from me.
Yeah, if it's over 98, I don't really look at it. If it's 98 or higher, I'm like, you know what?
Well, what I'm doing is if I get an offer from somebody, right, and especially if the offer is kind of borderline, is it worth it for me to say or to sell the item, just to move on from it, to sell it to someone who's going to be an absolute freaking headache, right? Someone's going to send me a bunch of messages. Someone's going to nitpick the item. Someone that's going to want to open a return and lie. Generally, it's a good indicator to see how the buyer behaves based on how they treat sellers. So to me, if you look at feedback left for others and it looks like Christmas, bunch of red and greens, I'm going to, decline the offer and I'm going to just sell it to someone else. That's the way I look at it. NPC says, I detest self-checkout and will avoid all so-called convenience stores that only do self-checkout. Self-checkout is not a convenience. It's easy for me. If the line is long at the regular checkout and I can get in and out of the store and just do a self-checkout, I'm good.
So I told them, I put in the comments, do y'all have Circle K's out there? So Circle K is a convenience store. The new ones here, they've done them all over town. You just take and put your stuff on underneath like this little, it's like a little, I don't know, it's like a little shelf or whatever. And it figures out what you've got and rings it up for you. And then so you just pay.
We have a grocery store out here called Smith's out in Vegas. They actually shut down their self-checkout for about a month. And they made you go to the regular checkout, and then they opened it up back again. I don't know what happened, but they initially said due to all the shoplifting at the grocery store, all the shoplifting, they had to get rid of it. So I don't know what made them bring it back. Mike Caparelli says there is plenty of YouTube content on Highway 127 sale. Rocky Top, Beard King Picker, Easy Pickings, Reseller Locker Room, Old Guys Podcast, Bama Jaybird, Reselling with Woody, Lux Garage. Man, you got a heck of a playlist there, Mike. It's just too much.
Don't worry, Mike. I shot film too. I ain't done anything with it yet. Maybe I'll make a video.
Yeah, you should. Catherine Cathcart says, I have no store, 250 insertion fee free. What transactions count towards this count? I have not listed or ended listings since August 1st, but my counter says I already used 64 of 250 listings. Confused. What that means is there's some items that you have that do not take listings, that aren't taking up your listing count. You get free insertions for that particular category. I don't know how many items you have in your store, but it's telling you, look, 64 of your items have been used up either through new listings or items that have reached that 30-day threshold where eBay recycles it, right? But it's still an old, stale listing in the algorithm's eyes. If you let that thing, since August 1st is not that long ago, I mean, if you're talking about last year, if it's gone a full year, now you have a store full of, not a store, but you have a batch of old merchandise that eBay, the longer you leave it listed, it's just going to kind of go back in queue behind a lot of the other newer listings. In fact, a lot of people lose their listings by allowing the listings just to sit there, and eBay eventually takes them down. Have you seen that before?
No, I have not.
That's happened to me. And if you go and do a 6-month purge of your inventory, go through all your racks or bins or whatever, and just account for every item you have, make sure it's listed, you, over time, will find that you're going to have at least a dozen, if not more items, depending on the size of the store. For a 200-item store, we found a dozen. One time we did it, we found 70 out of a 400-item store that were just sitting there, not even listed. I had to go back and relist all of them and didn't even have the photos or anything. It was that old, that was out of the system more than 90 days, and it was a pain in the butt. Eagles Can Fly says, hey, sorry I'm late. Just got home from walking back from my parents. Well, nice seeing you. Thanks for being here. We have Illinois Picker says, eBay sales finally picking up. Amazon consistent, but I agree the margins have to be good to outpace these fees. Watching net profit continuously. So even though sales are harder to come by, we have to, in my opinion, at least the way I'm managing my stuff is there's a fine line between just giving it away out of desperation to, yeah, this is an acceptable profit on this particular item. I think sometimes we can get into that desperation mode. How many people out there have had a 0 sales day and you've taken a very, very questionable offer? One you probably would have countered, but you kind of felt like maybe if I take this offer, it'll, like, the floodgates will open up? Anybody out there? Because I know I felt that way before. Have you done that before? No,
I wasn't listening.
I wasn't listening. Get a guest on the show, and he wasn't listening.
So,
no, what I said was, have you ever had
eBay open? They had a repricer. I was trying to find out if there was still an eBay repricer. Because
no, what I was asking is if you have a zero sales day on eBay, and later in the evening you get a questionable offer, right? One you probably would have countered, but your mindset was, I'll go ahead and take it in hopes that this might open up the floodgates. It's a ridiculous thing to think.
Absolutely take it. I'm like, I need to jumpstart this. Listen, I'll take it every time.
But it's almost like it feels like it's not a thing. It's just not a thing. Better. There's nothing to it. You may not get another offer at all on any item. That might be the only item you sell. But I'm willing to bet there's people out there who in the back of their mind know better, but think, maybe if I take this ridiculous offer, it'll open the floodgates up. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, because I'm looking, because the strength of Amazon is repricing. And with price being so sensitive right now, I remember a company called Street Pricer was there. They still have an eBay repricer. I was just looking into it to see how often they reprice them, if they have any different. Because I think velocity would be the only way to do. Because unless you're just doing new against new.
Yeah. I said yes. I agree with you. Is that something you're setting up?
I opened the tab and I was making sure I got the right one. I'll read about it later. They've got free trials and tours and stuff, so I'm gonna look at it.
The crazy cards. The higher the ROI, return on investment, the better. But $20.80 is often the reality. Yeah, and it's just that you want to set a range. I think what is the ideal. So that's the highest, right? Where is your starting point, and what is acceptable? So if it's on an $80 item, is it 60 to 80? What is that range? So if you guys know what I'm talking about, do you guys, anybody out there, set a range in your mind? So like when you're listing this, like, what, I know this has been going for around $80 based on the sold comps, but I can go as low as this, because otherwise you really probably shouldn't be using best offer if you're not willing to set a kind of a range in your mind.
I set a range in my mind, but also set that range when I buy it, because you've got the data, or when I list it too, especially you look at what it sold here lately, and if you really in your mind get a good look at how frequent that item sells, it makes it easier. It makes it easier to accept an offer.
So I want to remind folks though that are in the chat, we're here for each other. This is kind of a video I put out a couple weekends ago saying, hey, we're all in this together. And I mean it. I mean, we might feel strongly on a certain thing. We might not agree, but let's refrain from, putting someone down or making them feel bad. Let's kind of proceed with helping each other out. That's the best way. I'm not going to call anyone out, but let's try to be mindful of that. Chris, out burning tonight and have company coming over for dinner, so not going to make it on the late night show tonight. I don't think we're going to have a late night show on your channel tonight, right?
No, because I'm really working on. This building, it needs hours and hours of work, and so yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Pitco, I just got my sale from hitting the like. See, it works. I don't know how or why, but we put it out there, right? So if you hit that like button within the next 24 hours, the result's going to be you're going to get a sale. I'm confident in that. Glenda says, hi, John and Beard, plus all the chat. Happy to receive my Friday FAE. Great information. We're happy to have you here. So thank you for being here, hanging out with us. Illinois Picker says, I got threatened with a lawsuit for listing a breast pump I found at Target on clearance. Never again on that stuff. Not worth it. So have you ever received, aside from like a Vero, have you ever received like a nasty gram from a company?
Yeah, you as an Amazon seller, you just collect those things, and usually they come. They send them through when they're not. I've gotten them, FedEx overnight or next day or whatever. I've gotten them all through Amazon's. Not gotten one on eBay, but on Amazon is a lot.
I have, other than a Vero, I haven't received anything. Well, I take that back. I did have a third-party brand that I listed on FBM Amazon one time, and it was just some random third-party. They were I made the mistake. They were the only ones on that listing. There wasn't any third-party seller on that listing, but I jumped on it because I thought Amazon lets me, right? I typed in the ASIN, and it lets me, add my quantity and all that, so I'm good. A day later, I get a counterfeit notice from eBay, and not eBay, but Amazon, and they said that it was, who the heck would counterfeit a third-party no-name brand anyway? But they're Amazon. It's like they side with the buyer on eBay. Amazon will side with the sellers that claim this every time, and there's really no way to prove it. I mean, you've had that before. How do you fight that? Can't.
There's not much. So basically, if don't push your luck. So if you've had an issue with a company or something, just sell your, price it to move, sell your item, move on. It really, they always threaten. As long as so you're protected. If you sell it new, they can make a case that you can't honor the warranty, so it's negatively impacts the customer. That's the only thing they can do. If you sell it used, they don't have a leg to stand on, because if you buy an item used, there's no warranty involved. And so that's the only difference. They can't say that you've negatively impacted their brand because someone decided to purchase a used one versus a new one. That's your own personal choice. But it's the warranty is where they come in and say, you're doing the brand damage because people buy it, pay good money for it, and then they can't get it fixed because they bought it from you.
Yeah. Montezuma says, how long do you block buyers for thinking of unblocking some buyers? I blocked a couple of years ago. I have a very extensive block buyers list, and I have not thought of going in to unblock any of them yet. What about you? Do you even block buyers? And if you do you think about unblocking at some point?
That's how many I have blocked.
Why is that?
Because it don't do no good. If you could block me right now, and I can buy whatever I want to from you. Just log in as a guest and buy what I want.
If you're that, privy, savvy to get in there and do that, some people will be like, well, I don't know what's going on, so I guess I'll go buy it from somebody else. I've had a couple that came up. You can go and there's a report, I believe, where it shows how many people in the last 90 days that you decline selling something to. It should be in your selling preferences or something like that.
Only ones I've declined if I just didn't take an offer up, but I don't have anybody on
what
YouTube. That's a different story.
What about a nasty buyer that leaves just a nasty negative and just maybe scam? I'm sure someone's attempted to scam you before, right? You don't even bother blocking them, huh?
No, because if you think somebody scams you, they know eBay as well as you do, maybe better, and they can get around whatever. So what?
Well, I mean that very well may be the case. I just feel like I know that I've actually done that. I've an extensive list, and I think it helps you not have to deal with them. People are going to, because there's so many of us sellers out there, they're going to take the path of least resistance. If they can't easily use their account to scam you or whatever the heck their intentions are, they're going to do it to someone else just as easily without creating another account and all that.
I think one of the best features I had, and I don't think it's there anymore. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Where I had it set where if somebody had 2 no pays within the last so many days they couldn't buy. I think that's reasonable protection for a seller. If you've got a buyer that doesn't pay, we should be able to not have the choice not to allow them to pay. I think that's a better, if a buyer is done, they should do that. Where if eBay wanted to help sellers, how about if a buyer has left more than 2 negative feedback in the last 90 days, let me be allowed to choose that. And that would be much more functional than a block list, because block list.
Well, there has to be some teeth behind it, right? So I don't know if eBay needs to invest some of this technology into, if someone gets blocked from an IP, they can't use that same IP to buy your item, right? Maybe something like that. Eagles Can Fly says, yeah, I went back to what I missed and saw that your camera and voice was messing around. I thought it was my phone. No, it just craziness. So we have technical issues every so often on this channel, but the goal is to make them disappear altogether. Not Funny says, I sold a leather jacket that had a stain. I didn't clean it, but Did put in the listing that it was dirty. Guess that was against policy.
Yep, you must clean them.
Yeah, well, but is that a U.S. policy now?
Yes, you have to sell clean. Yeah, it's been a couple of years. You can't sell something that's not been laundered.
Interesting. Well, I mean,
it can be as simple as washing it, but it must be.
We got Pat Dees. Thanks for being here, Pat. Nice to see you. Anissa's with us. I sold some Suave and thought of you, Beard.
Yeah, I saw some today too.
Illinois Picker says Circle K is awesome for their drink club. We had one, but it left. But it used to do it $9.99 per month. One free drink of your choice per day: coffee, soft drink, slushy, whatever. I didn't know that. That's pretty good. Chris,
they've done away with that. Also, most drinks are 79 cents, so that's still pretty decent.
Yeah, Chris says he's anti-checkout, anti-self-checkout, I guess, or anti-checkout, meaning that he just wants to take the stuff out the store without paying for it, apparently. Chastity says, I get the best cash back from Upside app at Circle K's in my area. I don't know anything of, don't do any of that cash back stuff. I know Jenna does. Whenever we're out and about, we have a receipt. So
Johnny does Ibotta, but that's about it.
Let's see. You're getting orange chicken tonight, huh? Pretty good. Basket Noodle says, Tio have consumer seller confidence. The only way is to display real metrics and really can't do that due to card franchises. We have XYZ. All this stuff makes me miss the old days. Yeah, but I still believe that we've come a long way. I think I posed this question on the PPP to you. If you could choose whether to go back in like 2010, well, let's go back to 2008, 2007, before the economy was going crazy back then. So 2007 or selling today under the current guidelines or back the way it was, which one would you do? And I think all of us said we sell today, right?
Oh, hell no. 2007, 2008, put me on Amazon FBA. I'm going to be a quadrillionaire.
Well, I'm talking about on eBay. eBay.
That was the golden days. Yeah, Amazon was crazy. I don't want to go any farther back than I want PayPal to be there. So whatever PayPal started, because I don't want to send cash in the mail and all that stuff again. But once PayPal started, I think.
Yeah, that was a mess. But even then, you had the whole fiasco about back and forth negatives I've seen some nasty negatives. There's no reason why a seller should ever have left a negative for a buyer like that, but it was allowed. Eagles can fly. That difficulty issues only happens to the best of us. Technology, it's like what I'm dealing with right here. I'm going to be probably spending the next 2 or 3 hours just trying to fix it so it doesn't happen again. Basket Noodles, back then a chargeback cost me $100 right from the word go every time. And like for me, they sent me back in 2003, they sent me a cashier's check that was fake. And I thought, oh, good, I'll send them their $500 diamond and tried to cash the cashier's check to my bank. And not only did it bounce, I had to pay $35 because of it. Basketball began in 95. So eBay was not on my radar back in 95. I think I was just 21 years old at the time and didn't get into reselling until I came across, oops, that's not the hard drive. But I came across these hard drives right here. And so I'm kind of back full circle. Well, I think we're at the end of our road. Do you have anything that you want to share or any thoughts?
I got to clean up this building. That's what I got to do.
Yeah, I got to get some listings. I have to go. I have some birria tacos. They're smoked birria tacos that we're going to be putting together here.
Yeah, Jacob, my son, he's been cooking for Johnny Wash. He's been out, so he's very good at it. So he cooked orange chicken. But yeah, I'm spending too much time looking for inventory now. Now that I'm listing more on eBay, so I'm trying to organize all that so that I get my time back. So it just means organizing this building in a better way. It means I'm gonna take some of it to the storage building,
and it almost feels like on the onset, it almost feels like when you take that time to really organize, it's a waste of your time. But once you get it done, you feel like you almost feel motivated to get out there and get stuff done. You know, like if you're working in a very clustered environment where everything's all over the place, you're tripping on stuff. You don't even want to be out there. That's kind of where I'm at right now, but I'm going to push through it nonetheless.
Yeah, me too. But I've got storage units that I've got plenty of room. So I've just been trying to keep everything here because I've liked the fact that I've been able to pull so much inventory without having to go over there. But it's only 2 miles, so I just need to break down. And now that the heat's going away a little bit, you know, when it's 98 and the humidity is like 1,000,000, the last thing you want to do is go over to a storage building that feels like make you repent because it's so hot. Dear Lord, please forgive me. I don't want to live through this for eternity.
Well, guys, tomorrow morning, Profit Playbook podcast, like always.
Good conversation. It's a good one.
Yeah, good show. And so be sure to tune in. I know you guys are going to be doing the yard sales and stuff, but when you get a chance, tune in and give it a listen. And I want you guys to have a great weekend. Just get out there, make that money. Money's still being made, and you just got to be a little bit more particular about what you're buying and putting into your stores. But figuring that out is yet another example of how flipping ain't easy. Want you guys to have a great weekend, and we will talk to you very, very soon. Take care, everyone.
A new offer.